Hey everybody, welcome back to a new episode of Entropia content. Today is, the third day for me for being sober, for Sober October. Oh, what a relief. Third day is like, I think I actually woke up and didn't crave vaporizing. So I was like, holy shit, 3 days? I think I'm in the clear. Whew. I don't know, sorry guys if I was a little bit stressed out the past couple days. I noticed when I do quit, I do get a little bit more irritable, if you can imagine more. Alright, so today I promised what I was going to do is put a whole bunch of the stuff that I've been building up on my, my shop, and it's just not selling. So I can't just keep fighting it and trying to sell it. I just gotta, or trying to sell it at my shop. I just gotta move it so I get some more PED again. Project Entropia dollars. No, I was thinking, oh yeah, I do got a bit of metal residue there. What was the other thing that I picked up? Oh, nice. I got 20 PED of Milica already here. You can see I was doing the crafting trick here. Or trick, or strategy, whatever you want to call it. Ah, here it is. Second, I knew I had bonding liquid somewhere. Right, and what else is new? Oh yeah, we got some messages here in the top. Haven't checked them out. Sorry guys if you're sending private messages. I usually open them on the show. Just be aware of that. If you're asking me to make out, it might be a little bit awkward. People are reading it. Like that's gonna happen. Alright, so... Oh, cool. Someone's asking if they can add me as a friend. Sweet. Right, we've got entering land area, blah blah blah. Yeah, so nothing too much. Oh, it was cool. One of the viewers from Romania messaged me yesterday saying that I could come and visit him. And he watches the show, and I was like, man, I've been dying to go to Romania. Now, I first found out about Romania from one of my buddies I used to work with. And he said that his neighbor used to live in Romania, but I can't remember what happened. He said there was some sort of thing with like organized crime or something. He had to flee the country. But when he came to Canada, he was he got himself back on track. But anyways, he was sharing with him some of the moonshine that he makes. And I was like, holy shit, like he was talking about, I think it was Romanian plum moonshine, I can't remember. But he was like, holy shit, it's like the best moonshine he's ever tried. And then what else was it too is, I did a lot of ancient mystery research in the past. And I found that area of the world where, well actually, I was mainly more looking into Bulgaria, but I was figuring since Romania shares a border with them, they probably got a lot of cool ancient sites there too. Now, if people don't know, you often hear about like Stonehenges and different megaliths in England, but it's not just England, it's all over Europe. Well, it's not even all over Europe, it's all over the world for shit's sakes. Now, even in Canada we have a Stonehenge for shit's sakes. And it's the oldest one in the world. Fathom that, right? Now, I think our Stonehenge was dated like 12,000 years old, or just after the Ice Age ended. So maybe 10 to 12,000 years old. Oh yeah, the other thing I had with Romania is I started watching tennis this year. I guess it was last year, because Canada had a Canadian/Romanian athlete make it to the finals, and she managed to beat Serena Williams. I was like, yeah! It's the first time I ever got into watching tennis. So, now I was thinking, it's like, man, it's like, what's her name again? Bianca Andreescu, I think it is. Now, she's a little bit young for me, but I was thinking, geez, man, I'd like to go to Romania and meet some hot Romanian chicks. Well, I was also sharing on YouTube is that my uncle, his health isn't improving. I think pretty much we're at the stage where it's just going to keep getting worse and worse. So we've done everything what the doctors can do. He's still taking some medications to help, but it's not really helping much. Alright, let's put the bonding liquid on auction. Now, so I just posted a little video to try to offer some consolidation to people that are also in the rough situation. I know a lot of people are probably doing the PSW work or volunteering to do it because of the whole pandemic situation. There's less PSWs around. Alright, let's see. What should I make the buyout here? Let's make it 200%. Just so if anyone wants to help out the show, it'll actually make a pretty big difference. But if anyone wants to help the show and just put a low bid in, I won't put any reserve too. So you guys, if you want some cheap bonding liquid to do a bonding liquid crafting run on Rocktropia, like if I didn't have all my shit on Next Island, I'd probably be using this too, because you've seen that bonding liquid, it works pretty good. You can make some ped back from that. Alright, so is that all right? 32.77. Yeah, everything looks pretty good. Alright, how much is my auction fee? 50 peck? That ain't too bad. My 2 pecks. I never thought of that. My 2 pecks is also a workout thing, right? Well, yeah, speaking of workout, now that I'm doing the Sober October, I fucking gave myself a good slap and got my act together. No, not just for sobriety, but I fucking stopped overeating, thankfully. God. I don't know, it's like my willpower is sometimes pretty good, but when it comes to overeating, it's like I almost need a little extra help. And that whole thing about like when you stop smoking weed and you all of a sudden get like no appetite, it helps a lot. Like it almost feels like it's like cheating. It was funny because what was it? We'll make this one a bit cheaper. So if anyone wants to help the show, I got some glam rock on auction. No reserve, so you can pick it up cheap. Cheap, cheap, cheap. Yeah, and the profits are going to go to my show or my game playing, however you want to look at it. Alright, let's see. What is this? Luna Stone. I don't even remember where I got this. I've had it so long. I think I ordered it to do some crafting for some reason and then stopped crafting it. Can't remember what it was, but I'll put it on auction. Let's get rid of it. Alright, let's see. I'll put it a little bit higher because this is a product on another planet that you'd have to pay shipping to get it here, so I'll put no reserve, so if anyone wants to get it cheap, but if they want to buy it out for me, it'd be a big help. Now, I was just going to say too, I didn't share that video with Pete to try to get sympathy or anything. It's like, I know a lot of people have already been posting in the comments, they feel really sorry for him, but man, like he had Down syndrome and he was only given till I think at the age of 30 that the doctor said that his condition was really rough. But he's managed to not only outlive that prediction, but I think he's turning 60 this year or maybe 59. So yeah, he like over doubled it, and he had a good life. Like man, I tried to spend as much time with him I could when he did move in with us. He used to live with my grandpa, but after my grandpa died, he came to live with us. Now he used to, for a while there, his life wasn't the greatest. He spent a lot of time locked in a basement, well not locked, but stuck or down in the basement watching TV and lifting weights. He used to watch wrestling like religiously. God, did he ever get strong too. I was like, man, I would never want to fight him. Even now that he's like almost completely crippled, when he goes to crush you with his hand, it's like he's super strong. So I have to be careful when he gets mad. It's like, you gotta look out. But most of the time he's really happy. I think he goes through little mood swings because he's getting pretty depressed about not being able to go to his school anymore. It's like just sitting around in your room watching TV all day would drive anyone crazy. Okay, so I got that stuff on auction. Oh yeah, and I was getting into a little bit of arguments yesterday. Sorry, I was like a little stressed out. Not that it's any excuse, but... No, I was arguing with one guy who's kind of ripping on Never Die. And I don't really blame the guy because like I've ripped on Never Die more than probably a lot of people. But usually I come around and realize like, hey, it's like, yeah, it sucks. The terms of service, Never Die has to change things sometimes at the last second. And it can fuck you over for a lot of money. It's like, remember I was talking about how when I was selling that Camp Crunk shop, and what happened, I had, what was it, a 25,000 pet, or no, I think it might even been 40,000. I can't remember. But anyways, I had a really high offer that he was considering. I think it was Soul, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Soul. It could have been someone else. Memory's not the greatest. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, Soul was gonna, or whoever that player was gonna buy the shop for me for big cash. And I was actually really depressed about it because I was like, shit, I feel stupid for not selling it for such a high price, but I really loved the shop and I wanted to keep it. So I think that's what happened. I can't remember if I said no or he just talked to the Never Die or maybe Doc, some of the people associated with Rocktropia. So instead of me making the huge profits on that sale, they changed the game. Last second, they added a shop right next to mine. Because our two shops used to be like Park Place. You had Park Place and Boardwalk, two places. And owning both was like a really fucking sought after thing. So me and the owner, the other owner, Big Daddy, we used to always talk to each other about, hey, I'll buy your shop. Oh, I'll buy your shop, because it was like Park Place. We wanted to have, or like Monopoly. We wanted to own all of the shops there. But we came to the conclusion that instead of doing that, we were both just going to keep our shops and not sell them. So then what happened was, that guy, instead of like having to put in the really high offer to buy it from me, they created him a new shop right next to mine. So we no longer had the monopoly of two shops. So yeah, that sucked. It was a last minute change, cost me thousands of dollars US. And I got really upset about it. I was probably yelling and swearing like that guy even worse. But eventually I came around and I realized it's like, hey, it's like you sleep on it for a few months and it's like, Entropia is a really hard game to balance. Like, can you imagine you were in charge of balancing it? And I think they have to do like really fucked up changes sometimes like that just to make sure the game stays afloat. So that's like one of the things, like you have to make hard decisions in life sometimes in order to keep things afloat. It's like when you have to give up that chicken wing addiction in order so you don't choke in your sleep from being obese. Not that that was almost happening to me, actually it was. No, I've got this new electronic scale and I was trying it out for the other show. I think it was the other show unless I shared it with you guys. But anyways, I hooked up the new scale, got it going. And it's funny because it has some ratings where it'll tell you like, oh, you're a little bit heavy, you're overweight, and then it goes right to the obese. So it's like if you're obese, it'll like tell you. It's like, oh, you're obese. Luckily, it doesn't have a morbidly obese. But I found it's very strict for being obese. Like, I was surprised. I'm like, I thought it was just like 20, 30 pounds overweight, but they even call that obese. I was like, I thought that was just mildly overweight. Now I'm just checking for some AI. I'll do a quick run around. Yeah, maybe that's what I'll do. 1 second. Oh, wait, I gotta run to the turret. If I stop here, I'll die. Come on, turret, shoot these bastards. There we go. Okay, before we check out how obese I am, let's do a quick spin from the Bitcoin casino. And you can see I made it over the 30,000 Satoshi goal. I'll show you what that's all about in a sec. So let's give it a roll. 31,367. Boom! 31,386. Woohoo! Alright, now what I was going to show you guys is how the earning Bitcoin works. Once you reach the 30,000 Satoshi goal, which I just did, you go up here, you click Earn Bitcoin, and now you can see the annual interest rate. And this is 1.08 higher than my actual bank. So I can make more money off this than a real bank in my city. Alright, so here it's showing the account balance, how much daily interest you collect, the monthly interest, and the yearly interest. So that's pretty cool. And obviously it's very tiny at this point, but I was thinking, geez, it's not so bad. It's going in the right direction. At least I'm not losing money on Bitcoin. Alright, so what I'll do next is I'm just going to show you guys my progress or lack of progress so far today. Let's go do it. Alright, so this is one of these electronic scales. If you haven't tried it out before, they're pretty neat. It's like it gives you a lot more information than your traditional scales. Right, so let's see. My weight loss goal is to make it down to 165. That may sound ridiculous, but I'm actually usually around 150 when I was like growing up. So I have actually been at that weight for a good chunk of my life. I was like one of the tall, scrawny type builds. But now that I've gained this much weight, I don't know if I can really make it down to that. We'll see. The last time I tried this, I made it down to 170 and I still had like a 10-pound beer belly. So I was like, I think I could even make 160, but maybe not. We'll see when we get there. Alright, so let's continue going. It's saying from the last measurement I took, I gained 0.1 pound. And I think that's what it was, is I was chugging a lot of fluids. Or just like a slight variation. And people are wondering how accurate this is. It says in the instructions that it's not to be like medical accurate, but what I did is I got my study from this, went to an actual medical place that has the real version of these scales, like the medical grade, and it was the same. So I think maybe these scales break down sooner and sometimes you can start getting false readings, so you gotta watch it. What I usually do is keep a regular, like one of those needle scales, it's not digital, and just keep it as a backup so I can keep checking, make sure it's matching. Because man, the one time I thought I was losing weight like crazy, and then I went and checked the needle scale, and it's like, whoa, I didn't lose any, it was just the scale that was breaking. Yeah, I break scales. It's not fun, but it's true. Alright, let's continue so we can make it to Entropia faster. Right, so my weight, it's saying that I'm in the yellow. And you can see at least I'm not in the obesity. If I hit 230, that's when I reach obesity. So that's pretty cool. Alright, so that's weight. And then body mass index, it says I'm also into the yellow for that. Not really sure what body mass index is, I'll have to look into that more. Right, so here's the body fat percentage. And it says that I'm actually, oh yeah, here it is. I thought it was in the fitness, but no, I'm just in acceptable, just under obese. So that was close. If I would have ate for another week or two, I could almost guarantee I would be obese at this point. Alright, so let's check out the other one. We got the fat-free body weight. This is muscle in addition to body fat is a major component of body weight. So it's saying that if I have no fat, that I'm going to weigh 162 pounds. So my goal of 165 would be about 3 pounds of fat left. I don't know, that sounds a little bit off, but maybe we could find out when we get there. Alright, subcutaneous fat, the ratio of fat stored in your skin to your body weight. Yeah, this is, I figured I was on high, because I noticed that like my skin fatness was definitely up there. So I got to get that back down. It would be nice to get to low, but I would go with even standard would be nice. Alright, visceral fat. This is the fat that protects your organs, and I'm just under high for that as well. So I really got to get that down. That's the one thing too. If you're going on the vegan diet and you have like a really high organ fat content, like around your organs, you can go vegan longer before it'll affect you. So people sometimes don't realize that they feel okay on the vegan diet because their organs actually store a lot of reserves, like around them in fat. And taking that away can be good, but also bad if you take too much of it away. Right? So just be careful. I'm not giving medical advice, just sharing my personal experiences. Alright, body weight. What is this? No, body water. So I'm at a normal amount, a little bit close to low. I noticed I was really thirsty, but I didn't want to chug a whole bunch of water because I was going to throw off the reading. But I probably will right after this episode. So who knows, my numbers will probably be up tomorrow. Alright, so the skeletal muscle. This is one I've always had issues with. And at least I'm not in low today. I think the last time on my old scale, I was still in the low. So I think my doctor explained this to me, that I have a hyperflexibility condition. Like I can bend in ways like you can't even imagine. And he's saying the reason that, or what makes that possible, is less muscle around the skeletons. I think that's what he said, or I could be getting it wrong. So yeah, that's why my skeleton, or it could be. Come on. Alright, so yeah, that's the skeletal muscle thing. Alright, so let's check the actual muscle mass. This is the total muscle weight, including skeletal muscle, cardiac, and whatever. So I have 154 pounds of solid muscle. Rock hard. Alright, so that's pretty good. Oh yeah, it's up there as high. So isn't that weird, eh? My muscle mass is high, but the skeletal muscle mass is low. So that's a little bit of a weird reading, but I guess my doctor explained it with that flexibility thing. Now I was thinking 154 pounds of muscle. It's like I'm only supposed to weigh 160 fat free. So it's like my whole body is almost pure muscle, according to this. Alright, bone mass. So the bone mass, I think this is the one that you have to know if you're like going into fighting and full contact sports. So you want to keep your bone mass high or else you're running the risk of serious fractures. I don't know how accurate this one is. I have no way really to tell it, other than sometimes my bones do feel weak. Like if I'll stub my toe and it swells instead of just getting hurt, like, and then feeling better a few minutes later, if it swells up, then I'm like, holy shit, maybe I damaged the actual bone. So yeah, gotta watch that one. Alright, protein. I'm like really close to the high protein levels, and I figured that makes sense because I've been binge eating since I had that fucking stomach meltdown. I don't know how long ago that was now, I think a month or so. So yeah, I figured that would be super high because I'd just been plowing back protein like you wouldn't believe. Oh god, some of the times I went to the washroom, I want to get to the details. Too much information. Alright, metabolic rate. Above average or below average? I figured mine would be above average because I tend to overdo things, and when I go biking and stuff, it's like, man, I push it biking, like almost to the point where it's like I get chest pains. I'm like, fuck man, I gotta slow down and stop pushing myself. So yeah, sometimes I overdo it with working out, and then it pushes my fucking metabolism super high. Like I remember one year, I think yeah, it was last year, I had my metabolism so high that if I didn't eat, like if I just did water fasting and just did my normal workout routines and bikings, I think I lost 20 pounds in under 5 days. I was like, holy shit, man, that's like fast metabolism, right? And I even checked the water weight. My water weight was still high, so I just lost like fucking 20 pounds in 5 days. So it's tempting to do that again and just like water fast, but I don't want to fuck up my stomach so bad, so I'm going to try doing it normally this time. Don't want to fucking do everything so extreme. Right, my metabolic age, I'm 40 right now, and I turned 41 December 2nd, and it's saying that I'm younger than the metabolic age, but it says 41, so I don't really get that part. Ideal physical body age is 2/3 of actual age. So, oh yeah, so it's a little bit high. Oh, and if it went into yellow, that would mean I'd be like pushing the 50 age or whatever. Oh, okay, so I think I got it. Alright, let's get back to Entropia. Sorry guys if that my weight loss journey bores you, but it's a little bit selfish for me to do it, but I need to because, I don't know, it's like the whole Christmas time thing. When Santa Claus is watching you, you tend to behave better, or when anyone's watching you, you tend to behave better. So that's what I figured, like I could help myself by sharing this on the show, because that way it'll be more motivation. I'll be like, shit, I shouldn't overeat because I'm doing the show tomorrow and everyone's gonna see what I did. So yeah, I appreciate you guys, and if you want to just skip past that part in the show, I don't blame you. Maybe I'll start trying to do the timestamp thing. I know some people were asking me to do the timestamps, and I noticed I was just not having enough time to do it, because then I have to rewatch the show, and then just recording the show is pretty much all the time I have. So if anyone else is watching the show and they want to do timestamps and just put in the chat, I'll pin it to the top. So that'd be a big help if anyone can do that. I think I know how to do the timestamps. Maybe I'll do a video on how to do timestamps, so if anyone wants to help out with that and don't know how, I can try to show them. Or just type into YouTube. I'm sure there's plenty of people that did videos on how to make timestamps. Now it'll be nice to get my weight back on track too. Because I noticed, like, if you're ever going through down in the dumps times, there's a few things that can help. One is usually changing your behavior, like whatever you're doing. So you play video games all the time, switch to going outside playing sports. If you're playing sports too much all the time, maybe switch to going to the library or something. But usually when you get depressed and stuff, just switching what you do seems to be like a good test. Like, I'm not giving medical advice here, just from my experiences. If like I change what I'm doing, then it's like your body is like, it feels more refreshed, and it's like, oh, you're doing something new now. So then it lets go of some of those chemicals that are causing depression. I think. I don't even know. If anyone's experts on that, they can post it below. And one of the other things, you probably noticed it every time you do spring cleaning. It's like if you clean up stuff, if you clean up your room, clean up your kitchen, clean up your whole house, all of a sudden, it's like once you see the results of cleaning something, it's like it just boosts your spirits like you wouldn't believe, right? Like AI, if I could find some of those, I'd be happy. Alright, so what was that? That was two things. Changing the scenery, cleaning, oh yeah, and then self-improvement. It's like if you start improving yourself, like not just cleaning your house or your apartment or whatever, but cleaning your own act up, like maybe cutting out junk food, losing weight, getting more active, like exercising. Those are the three major things that I noticed that got me through my bad depression phases. Not to say that I never get depressed again, but at least it's not like every day sort of thing. No, actually my depression got so bad at one point that I could barely even hold conversations with people. I would just break down to tears all the time. I was like, okay, better do something to change this. No, my doctors actually, or my therapist or whatever at the time, was like suggesting to try the whole fucking antidepressants thing. And thankfully when I explained to her, it's like, yo, I've already had a lot of bad complications from different medications. I really don't want to start pumping myself with pills again, especially if there's an alternative. And then she's like, okay, yeah, let's try the alternatives first, and if those don't work, you should try the pills. And I'm like, okay, let's do the alternatives first. Thank God. It's like I didn't want to get hooked on more pills. I know some people have taken antidepressants and they can be pretty addictive. I know one guy who did it and he pretty much ruined his whole life on them. It's like what happened is he was a raging alcoholic, and he was getting depressed. So then when he went to see his doctor, they prescribed him some antidepressants to help him get over the depression so that he could quit drinking. But guess what? It's like he started going fucking AWOL, like totally crazy. Like he went from being like a normal person to like when he took the antidepressants, he started getting into his car completely loaded and getting in police chases. And he's never fucking like broken laws his whole life. Well, not serious laws. So I was like, I knew the guy since high school. So everyone's like, holy fuck, man, like what's changed with you? And then guess what we found out? Turned out the antidepressants the doctor prescribed for him have serious adverse effects if you take them with alcohol. So I was like, holy fuck, man, the guy's a raging alcoholic and you knew it. Why would you prescribe him medications that have severe reactions to alcohol? And it was funny though, because of that whole medical situation, like he got into police chases, ran stop signs, fucking everything, and they couldn't get any of the charges to stick against him because once they found out about what happened with his medical situation, he got off scot-free. But technically it wasn't scot-free because he never really recovered from that. He kept taking the antidepressants, kept drinking, and I think he even ended up starting to switch to harder drugs. The antidepressants weren't enough. He started doing meth and stuff, and I was like, lost my friend. It's like once your friends become meth addicts, you can try to save them to a certain degree, but they're reaching the point where they're going to rob you or rob your family or other things because they can't control themselves anymore. It's sad but true. No, it's really sad too. It's like I actually lost, I'd say, over half my friends to addiction. It's kind of really sad. Yeah, so you gotta be careful, guys. Like if you're getting addicted to weed, booze, or anything, it's like I'm not saying that it's going to be the gateway drug, but you gotta be careful. All right. Alright, so I don't really see any AI here. So if I had to guess, no one's been hunting the AI here for quite some time. And if people are wondering why I just don't shoot the zombies to trigger the AI, if I shot one of these zombies enough to kill it, there would be all the ammo I have to complete the entire mission. Because they only give you a certain amount of ammo to complete it for free. So if I want to beat this mission, I have to kill the AI, but I have to wait until people have just left AI, wasted them, and then I'll take their waste and make profits out of it. Because really, some people hunt the AI, when they reach the mission goal, they just stop, and then there's still a bunch of AI that they triggered, but they just leave them because they beat it. So it's not really an exploit or taking advantage of people. I try to just do it when it's already going to waste. Let's go to Club Never Die and try it. Yeah, in the chat, I didn't see it. Is anyone else trying the Sober October goals? Or I guess you're probably living in countries where you can't even admit to doing drugs. Or you'll be in jail. Oh yeah, and yesterday was literally stressing me out because of the whole disclosed TV thing. But thankfully, there was a guy on my Facebook who posted like this fucking wacko fucking crazy conspiracist thing about how the fucking, what was it? I think it was like the Icelandic people kicked out the bankers because they were mad at them for charging interest on the loans they took. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. It's like, don't be begging people fucking loans and then bitch when you have to pay interest and then kick them out of the country. It's like, you gotta be kidding me. It's like, I would never lend money to an Icelandic person after hearing that. It's like, maybe everyone from Iceland or isn't doing that sort of thing and they don't agree with kicking the bankers out for charging interest, but it's like, I don't know. Like, you can't just blame an entire people for what's going on in the government. No, but I was thinking, thank God, because I was like really upset. Like I'd spent years of my life researching conspiracies, posting videos about it, and I've like really had a change of heart over the years. It's like I reached the point where I realized that a lot of these people that are into conspiracies are living the victimhood lifestyle, where they're always like blaming all of their problems on other people. And I was like, man, I don't want to live like that. I want to take some self-responsibility and if like something's going wrong in my life, take action to change it. Like a man, not be like a sissy who goes around blaming other people for shit. Now, I've gotten caught in the blame game more times than I can count. Even last episode, I was blaming the Chinese for government for allowing the fucking opiates to flood into the country. I don't know if anyone's heard, but the Chinese triads are in charge of over 30% of our ports. And they're just allowing fucking heroin and other like Oxycontin drugs to just come in by the shipload. And the Canadian government can't stop them because almost all of our port security is working for the fucking triads. It's like, I don't understand why our government doesn't say, hey, we need to clean up this triad gang problem in our fucking ports, but I don't know, maybe it's bribes or what it is, but it's still continuing worse than ever. Yeah, so I don't want to be blaming the Chinese for that. It's like I was thinking, oh, blame the Chinese because they're the ones selling the drugs to us, but really we're the ones buying it from them, so we only have ourselves to blame. Yeah, I want to go collect some oil. That's what I want to do. I love collecting oil. Right. Why am I having difficulty here? What is going on? There we go. It's like it was so small I couldn't figure out what the hell was going on. Oh shit, man, did I ever have some good news yesterday too? Now I guess I'll finish the other story. I always get sidetracked and want to do a new story. I haven't even finished the old ones. No, so every time like someone makes like those comments on my Facebook post about how they hate capitalism and they fucking hate America and they hate banks, I'm like, you fucking losers, man. It's like, well, I shouldn't say that because I've been in that same situation myself. It's like, you got to try to get out of that victimhood mentality. And now every time that I hear people saying that stuff on my wall, I'm like, thank God, now I don't feel so bad about getting kicked out of the disclosed TV community. It's like getting myself as far away from the fucking conspiracy community is probably for the best. It's like I still love researching occasional mysteries that are a little bit conspiratorial, but I don't want to get to the point where I'm blaming everyone for things that are going wrong. It's like, oh, the evil Americans, they're responsible for all the problems in the world. It's like, yeah, fucking right. It's like America hasn't even been around for more than a few hundred years. What about all the problems before then? It was America too? we got some oil here. Woohoo! No, so I'll get on to the really cool fucking, like, this was the best news I had heard in years yesterday. Actually, I had a bunch of good news yesterday, now that I think of it. It was good timing, because I was just starting to get a little bit down in the dumps. I was almost thinking about drinking some booze, and I was like, fuck, I'm gonna wait. November. Holy, look at all the fucking oil that's here. Yeah, the first, let's go with the news about Dan. It's like, I used to do the factory work quite a bit, and one of the factories I worked at, I got to meet this guy named Dan. He was working on the same machine as me. Man, did he have a fucking amazing life story. It's like, normally when you're working in factories, you're not really supposed to talk, because like the supervisors will yell at you. But the machine we were working on, we were allowed to talk because we were working close together, and we had to talk back and forth in order to get the job done. But we could also just talk normally because like the machine was loud, so they couldn't really hear what we were talking about if the supervisors came by. Oh yeah, and it was one of the harder jobs, so all the supervisors were impressed that we could even do it. Yeah, so this Dan guy, he was like, I always thought I was like the best worker I'd ever seen, and then I met Dan. I was like, holy fuck, man, there's people that are way better workers than me. I was like, here, it's like, yeah, it's like everything in life. Sometimes you think you're the best at something, and then you find out it's like, oh no, not even close. Holy, how much oil am I getting here? I'm gonna have to go toll this up soon. It's like fucking everywhere. Yeah, so I hadn't seen Dan for quite a few years. What happened was, the factory, I had to quit because I was getting too many lung issues, could barely even breathe. I was getting a lot of sawdust and fucking glue stuck in my lungs. Because it was a woodworking place, we were making shelves. And yeah, I'm pretty good at making shelves if anyone needs them. No, but yeah, so I used to talk to Dan a lot on that factory and hadn't seen him in years. And oh man, he's priceless. Like, you know how Howard Stern is like kind of like hypersexualized and kind of funny? It's like Dan was like this, but like a million times more. It's like some of the stories he would tell about his ex-girlfriends. I was like, oh God, how can you tell people that? But it was funny nonetheless. So yeah, it's like he was telling some great stories and stuff. I was like, man, I really miss Dan because he was like, he cheered me up a lot. And then, what was it? Yeah, one of the other stories Dan was telling is not only was he like hypersexualized, but he used to be hardcore into drugs to the point where he was so addicted to heroin that he overdosed and died. It's like, what was it, the paramedics came and they actually managed to revive him from the dead. I was like, holy fuck. Yeah, so some of the stories he was telling, what it was like to be like a fucking homeless person living on Vancouver, like the West Coast, being addicted to those fucking opiates that the fucking triads are running in. And he said eventually, after he fucking overdosed and died, that was his like awakening, where he's like, holy fuck, I have to stop this or my life is over. Like literally. So he had to actually leave. He said he couldn't live in Vancouver anymore because there's so many addicts there. Like you just find needles and everything everywhere. It's like the heroin capital of Canada. So yeah, what he ended up doing is moving back to Ontario, where I live, and got the job in the factory, and that's how I ended up meeting him. Yeah, so what a wild guy. And it's like, I just happened to be like looking through my friends' posts on Facebook, and I happened to notice a little picture in one of the friends things that they have, and it was Dan. And I was like, holy fuck, I didn't even recognize him because he grew a huge beard and long hair. And he used to have like shaved head and everything like me. Well, actually, when I first met him, he had long hair. Then he shaved everything, and then I guess now he's back to long hair. Yeah, so I didn't recognize him, so I sent him the friend request, and he fucking added me. I was like, oh right, he remembers me. I think I'd seen him like maybe 5-6 years ago, just briefly, when I was at a store shopping and he was working there. So I asked him if he's still at the same store. He still is. Like 16 years he's been working there. Guy's like so dedicated, fucking the best worker I ever worked with, and he just won't quit. It's like when he gets a job, he'll stick to it. Which is so weird, eh? It's like you think he's like a raging addict at one point in his life, yet he has such discipline. But anyways, yeah, so Dan started sharing, like, I get to start seeing the posts from Dan from his wall. Man, does he post the funniest shit. And all these websites I didn't even, or Facebook pages I'd never even heard of. And it's like, I was at the point where I've been browsing joke pages on Facebook. I thought I'd seen them all. But no, he's got a whole collection that I've never even seen. So I was like, oh, right, just when I was down in the dumps. Now I got Dan sharing these great posts, and it really cheers me up. So yeah, so sorry guys, I'll try to stop posting so many negative posts on Facebook. God. I don't know, for me it's kind of like my venting location. I should really just create a fake profile and vent on it. Yeah, and so what was the other thing? Dan, that was fucking great. And then the other thing is, I found out Mike Tyson started a podcast. I was like, fucking A, right? It's like, I when I was a kid growing up, I always thought Mike Tyson was like the muscle head, right? Like some guy that's just all muscle and doesn't have any brains. And then fuck, man, once I heard him on Joe Rogan, I think it was the second interview. First one, he just talked about musclehead stuff. I was like, oh, okay, he's a musclehead. But no, the second episode, he started talking about academic stuff. I was like, holy fuck, Mike Tyson's like a genius. I didn't even know. It's like he starts talking about all the history that he studied, and he's like fucking memorized the warlords from like every era. Not only memorized them, but like all the details about all the horrific crimes they committed. It's like he could mention like, name like some fucking weird European king from like the 1400s or something. He'd be like, oh, that king did this, he killed this many people in this year, and then he died after this. And like, you know their whole life story. You could just name any warlord from history. He knows them all. I was like, what the fuck, right? So when Mike Tyson has a podcast, I was like, holy shit, man, like, what is he going to discuss in the podcast? Like, the one thing that kind of freaked me out about Mike Tyson is when I met him in person in Toronto, well, stood next to him when he was talking to someone else, I got that feeling of like, what is it, the paranormal feeling. Like when, you know, you get that shiver, like you just seen a ghost or something. I got that from him. And I was thinking, usually I only get that when people are like really badly borderline possessed by demons. And normally like demons and stuff, they're really into the fucking history of ancient slaughterers and fucking everything demonic, right? So it's like, holy fuck, maybe this is why Tyson's memorized all these fucking warlords and shit. Yeah, and did anyone know like why Tyson decided to come out of retirement? He said that he had a vision from the god of war that told him it was time to fight again. I was like, holy fuck, right? Yeah. 1 second. Alright, so I got some wolves after me. Let's take them to the turret. Now I started listening to Tyson talk about the history of boxers too. And he modeled his entire career after Jack Dempsey. I'd never even heard of Jack Dempsey before because I was just into modern boxers and never really looked into the old school ones. That fucking Jack Dempsey guy and Mike Tyson, they're like clones of each other. Like that's how well he fucking modeled himself after them. Like obviously different skin color, but even their hair and everything look fucking identical. Their body shape, both short and stocky. And Jack Dempsey, when he was known as the famous fighter for, his most famous moment is when he beat Willard. And Willard was like this giant white guy who was like fucking way bigger than any of his competition. And he would just pummel everyone. It's like, I think he was like undefeated or almost undefeated. Maybe a couple technical losses or something. So everyone's like, no one can beat this Willard guy. And then Jack Dempsey's like, you wait. So here you go, you got Jack Dempsey, this little midget guy, like 5'0" nothing. And he's going in there against this like 7' giant, and he just beat the shit out of him. It's like he came running right to his face and just started fucking uppercutting him like crazy. And then Willard got hurt so bad, I think he was almost hospitalized for a long time for it. And I think he almost quit boxing over it, I'll have to check. It's like, it was like even the people that watched it, they said it was the most severe beating they'd ever seen. Like they were surprised Willard didn't die from it. So I was like, when Mike Tyson, I was thinking like, who, like in modern boxing, that's actually happening right now. Is right now we got this guy named Tyson Fury, and same thing, he's like a fucking giant compared to any of his competition, and he just pummels them. It's like, even like, what was it, that Deontay Wilder guy or whatever, he tried to fight him, he just got his ass beat. It was bad. Well, the first fight was way closer, but second fight, just a slaughter. And then, so yeah, it's like Mike Tyson, I think that's what he's doing. He's fulfilling the Jack Dempsey prophecy, where he plans to slay the giant, just like Jack Dempsey did. And then I was thinking, oh, this can't really be true. And then Mike Tyson, coming out of retirement on Joe Rogan's show, he's like, yep, they've already been in talks for him to have the title fight against Fury. I was like, holy fuck, he's actually going to get the fight. Yeah, so like, I don't know, like I've really been into like visions and prophecies and sort of things like in my own life. Like I've had these weird visions that sent me off on quests, and I was like, holy shit, like, are other people actually experiencing these weird visions that lead them on journeys that actually come true and shit? It's like, and then Mike Tyson was like saying that's what his life has been like. Like he has these weird visions. He envisioned that, yeah, I think, yeah, what was it? He used to envision everything. Like he had a coach that would help him envision stuff. And then he ended up getting like visions about what he was going to do in boxing and what he had to do for the God of War and shit. I was like, holy fuck. So anyways, he had this guy on his podcast yesterday, and he was talking to this fighter who turned his life around from bullying. It's like he used to get bullied his whole life, then he eventually learned to fight and turned everything around. Well, partially turned everything around. I think he said once he started to get into fighting, when he got moderate success, he ended up turning to a life of drugs and shit, and ended up hooked on Oxycontin also. And all the fighters turned their back on him, kicked him out of all their camps, and said that we don't want to train with you anymore because you're a fucking addict. But this guy, I can't remember what it was. I think it was after that. He went AWOL for a while. He went missing for a few weeks. His family, his girlfriend, everyone didn't know where he was. Alright, let's go to Motorhead Stadium. Say hi to Lemmy's. Give a tribute to Lemmy. Can't really say hi to him, he's dead, but hi Lemmy. I'm sure he's partying in heaven. Yeah, so anyways, Mike Tyson had this guy on the show. He overcame the bullying, and then, oh yeah, he overcame the drug addiction. And then he's like, as he overcame the drug addiction, all of a sudden he got a vision. And he was like, it was the weirdest thing. It's like he wasn't sleeping, he wasn't like laying down or anything, he was just, I forget what he said he was doing, but he said he was just doing normal daily stuff, and all of a sudden a vision started. And he said it was like really weird, like he could see, like he was visualizing what he was supposed to do, but he wasn't trying to think of anything. He's like, he was just not thinking about anything, and all of a sudden this vision starts coming in, what he's supposed to do. So what did he do? It's like he started thinking that he was insane because like he had the issues with drugs and stuff. So he's like, holy fuck, maybe he's losing it, and now he's getting visions, right? But instead of like completely freaking out, he decided he would just write everything down from his vision. And if anything happened in the next few days associated with the vision, then he would know it was an actual real vision about stuff he was supposed to do. So anyways, he was telling the details about this vision that he had. It was funny, when he came on Mike Tyson's show, he actually wanted to jump right to the part of what he did for his vision and not even talk about the vision. But then Mike Tyson's like, wait a minute, man, like, how did you go from being addicted to going on this massive journey? Like, what triggered it? And then he's like, okay, I don't want to tell people because everyone's going to think I'm crazy. But then he told them about the vision. You could tell. It's like he got pretty emotional when he was talking about it too. It's like even me just talking about visions, I get emotional over it too. It's fucking annoying. But anyways, yeah, so he said that his vision is that he was walking through a fucking jungle or like really dense woods, and he could hear like band music playing from like a tribe or something. So then he said in the vision, he kept walking through the woods towards the music, and then this guy came out of the fucking woods, and he was in really rough shape. He was like coughing, very sickly, and he had his ribs showing. Like he was like starving to death. So he's like, holy God, this vision's terrible. And then he wrote down some of the stuff, like other stuff in the vision. He said something about the guy was saying that his people have been forgotten. So then when he wrote his vision down, right at the top of the sheet, he put forgotten people, right? So then I think he said even in the vision too, that they told him, or no, that's not it. I was getting that part wrong. Thinking, yeah, so after he had the vision, he wrote it all down. And then he started just going about his daily life. And he's like, okay, I'm not going to try to fulfill this vision. If anything happens, we'll see, right? And then what happened was he ended up training with the guy. I forget what his name is, Bear or something. And then this Bear guy, I think he ended up talking to him about the vision. And then he was saying like, man, it's so weird. He's like, I think I'm going insane. Like, never heard of this tribe in the fucking jungle and all these fucking bones and like all these people dying that are forgotten or whatever. And then this Bear guy that he's training with, he's like, oh yeah. He's like, he knows that tribe. He's like, what do you mean you know this tribe? And I guess this Bear guy had been doing charity work or something in Africa, and he knew all about this tribe called the Pygmy people. And he started explaining it to him that these Pygmy people are very small. He's like, the average size for an adult man is like 4 foot something. So they're like really, really small. And he said all the other people in Africa, like the Congolese, or forget what is the other places, but yeah, they were taking advantage of these Pygmy people and using them as slaves because they were so small they couldn't defend themselves. So he was thinking like, man, like his whole life was overcoming bullying. So he's like, maybe that's what the vision was doing. He was supposed to go to the fucking Africa, find the Pygmy village or whatever, and help them overcome the bullying, like being slaves and shit. So yeah, so what happened was he fucking talked to Bear, managed to get a plane ticket, and then they went together to the fucking Africa. And they said when they went, the government told them that they couldn't go because it was really dangerous, that they were probably going to die. Because a lot of warfare and shit going on in that region where the Pygmies were. But he's like, the vision, he's like, he's going. And then the Bear guy's like, yeah, he's going too. So yeah, so these two UFC fighters go to the fucking jungle and they find the Pygmies. Oh yeah, and then the weirdest part, he said when they found the village, it was exactly the same as his vision. He said he could hear the same song playing as they started getting close. And the same guy came out of the fucking woods all sickly, and they found out that he had tuberculosis. Oh yeah, and then when he started talking to them and explaining what the Pygmy situation is, he called themselves the Forgotten People. And then right then the guy's like, that's what I wrote on the top of the sheet. Yeah, so this MMA fighter, he managed, I don't know how, I guess they gave all the details in the show. I'll link it at the end, and I won't forget this time. I better fucking not. Yeah, so anyways, they helped the fucking Pygmies, got them some land. I forget how, but they got them like 40 acres. And what the government had done is they said they were going to help the Pygmies, but what they did is they relocated them out of their ancestral lands where they used to hunt and gather and stuff, and made them live on 1 acre of land that was just filled with raw sewage. So I forget, this one tribe they were helping, or village, had like 300 people when the government moved them, and they were down to just like 100 left, and they were in really dire straits. Like being used as slaves, not getting enough food, sickly with tuberculosis. So they got the medications to these people, got them cured, got them some clean drinking water wells, and got them 40 acres of land. I forget how. I think they bought it from the government or something. They raised money through fighting. I think they auctioned off different shorts and gloves and stuff from their fights. Yeah, so he managed to help the Pygmies. I was like, wow, what a vision, right? Yeah, so what really cheered me up about that whole show... Oh yeah, I guess I should do a quick message from the sponsor. Fuck man, the show's almost over. Jesus. Alright. Today's visions were brought to you by Crack. Crack, it'll fuck you up. Oh no, I'm getting eaten by a lion. No! Alright, back to Entropia. I'm dying. No, I died, but I was thinking it's good. I collected as much kegs as I wanted. I want to go back to storage, drop this off, and wrap up the story and the show. Yeah, so after this guy managed to help the Pygmies, he started to tell more people, like UFC fighters, and now they're all helping the Pygmies as well. They're going there, and they've got a really daunting task where they said humanitarians went to this part of Congo and they built like thousands of wells. But the problem was they didn't teach any of the people or give them the tools to repair and maintain the wells. And now all the wells have broken. So now all these people are fucked because they can't get any drinking water. They're starting to get polio and stuff again, and other waterborne diseases. So now the UFC fighters are looking at, what is it? I think they said it cost a few $1,000s to fix a well, but the problem was there's like 20,000 wells that need repairs or something. So it's almost like a ridiculous amount of money they need that they can never do it. So they're still working on it. It's not a project that's complete. So if anyone wants to help out, I think they got the links for it. I'll put the Mike Tyson show link so you guys can hear this whole story if you want to hear it. Hopefully I didn't ruin too much. I don't think I gave even half the details. I haven't even finished watching it. That reminds me. I think I watched an hour and 10 minutes of it, and I still got 20 minutes to wrap up. So I didn't give everything away. If you guys want to watch the video, I haven't even seen the whole thing yet. No, and I was thinking I was so happy because, you know, a lot of people, I was thinking that, like, does everyone get a vision at some point in their life and they just don't tell people because they're worried they'll think they're crazy? Like Mike Tyson was having these visions, this other fighter's having these visions, I get them, it's like, and then people make fun of me about it. They're like, hey, you shouldn't tell people that you get visions and stuff. So I'm like, well, fuck, I don't really care. People are making fun of me either way. It doesn't really matter. No, like a lot of the vision stuff I'm still working on. So it's like, I'm really happy to hear that there's other people working on their visions too. It's like I don't feel alone. Yeah, I guess maybe some people just call them dreams or whatever, but it's like, yeah, I don't know. I guess encourage people. Like if you've ever had visions or dreams, maybe you should try to fulfill them. Although this guy almost died fulfilling his. I don't want to get into the gory details, but some horrible shit happened in Africa while he was trying to help the pygmies. I'll leave that part of the show so you guys can watch it, but oh god, he barely survived. Yeah, and I almost got killed in my visions multiple times too, so just be careful. No, thankfully my life was saved by a Pepsi truck driver. I was almost eaten by a bear and he picked me up hitchhiking. Yeah, I really should have gave that guy some money. I was like, fuck me, he saved my life, and all I did was say thanks. He gave me his number too. He's like, hey, if you want to come party later, I'm like a fucking, well, I shouldn't say what he was doing because it might get him into trouble, but yeah, he was partying pretty good. Can imagine those Pepsi truck drivers, they know how to party. I was laughing too. It's like I arrived in this city, following my vision, almost got killed by a bear, but then got saved by a Pepsi truck driver, and then got invited to like these wild parties. And I was like, geez, I just arrived and everything is unfolding pretty quickly. Alright, so I think that's just a little bit of everything I wanted to cover too. Oh yeah, I wanted to drop off the storage stuff. Oh yeah, I was going to say too, sorry to that guy on Facebook, I don't know if he watches the show or not. I shouldn't have been bitching at him so much about like how he's upset at Never Die. But yeah, it's like, I don't know, I kind of just say it as it is. Every time I start hearing people really upset, it's like, I gotta try to like calm down. Don't freak out over everything. Oh yeah, it was really nice. Colwyn, the girl that I know from, I think she said she's from Sweden, or woman from Sweden. She sweats a lot, and we used to sweat a lot together. I haven't seen her in a while, but I guess she's still around sweating somewhere. There's probably a really good sweat circle going somewhere. Yeah, so she started giving the shows likes, so I'm like hoping maybe she would want to come on the show if she's listening, and we could talk about sweating. That'd be great. Because I fucking love sweating. It'd be nice to have a discussion with someone who actually likes sweating too. I know a lot of Entropians kind of hate sweating with a passion, so... I think the main thing that sweating drives people nuts is because a lot of the players that play are constantly losing money, and the only people that are gaining money are the ones sweating. So it kind of pisses like the whole jealousy thing off. Or it's just boring and they hate it for that, I guess. Hey, come on, sweat. Stop pouring in. I was like, man, if like my gun would just fail, I could go and use storage. Oh yeah, and for everyone that's offering to give me a place to stay and travel. It's like, yeah, I'm getting fucking hyped to do that shit. And actually, that's been part of my visions, is that I am supposed to travel at some point. I was going to do it this year, and I'm like, well, obviously it's not the right time to do it now. So I'm going to wait, and eventually that vision is going to come true. My latest vision I've been having is one day I get to the ocean and I see killer whales. So I keep having that repeating vision over and over again. So I'm pretty sure one day it's going to happen. And it's not even really that hard of a vision to make come true, but I'm just wondering, like, when I go to these killer whales and see them, what else is going to happen when I'm there? I haven't got the clue to that yet. Hopefully I don't get eaten by the whale. The way my visions are how visions usually go. I better be careful of that. Alright, let's go back to the storage and pump all the items in. Put it in, put it in. Okay, sorry, I gotta get my mind out of the gutter. Alright, so what do I got? 41 sweat. Woo! Oh, getting close to another 1,000 sweat. Yeah, so if anyone hasn't watched Mike Tyson's podcast before, I highly recommend it. I'll post the link at the end of the show. Oh yeah, all the fucking oil and kegs. Look at that, 28 oil. Just for running around picking it up, huh? Seems like the Motorhead kegs are going to be the one that's hard for me to build up a lot. Like, I've had this stack building for quite a few months, and it's only at 655. What I could do is like stay up till 4 in the morning. Sometimes if you like go there at really odd hours, you can pick up kegs faster because everyone else is sleeping still. Depending on time zones, I guess. Alright. Alright, thanks for watching the show, everyone. And try to keep everything civil these days. I know it's a stressful time. It's easy to get caught up in victimhood and blame and all these other things. I do my fair share, that's for sure. But I'm trying to go in the right direction. Right, anyways, Patreon, Society 6, Swagbucks, GameKit, Hideout TV, and Bitcoin. All those really help a lot. Big shout out to the patrons. I know I don't thank you guys enough, and I keep promising to do more stuff for Patreon, and I'm fucking lazy and don't get it done. But I'll try to get my act together. What else is there? Virtual Mate Sex Machine. It's for adults and men only, but if the ladies need a sex machine, I won't let them down. Well, at least try not to. Anyways. Oh yeah, I've also got links for, what is it, Entropia Zine. You want to check that out. Some cool writing about Entropia. Raven Jade's channel, I've got her store linked for some of the coolest shirts themed for Entropia. She's the vampire in Entropia, if you've seen her shop at Rocktropia there, or her hanger shop, or her Arcadia shop. I think that's where she said she's got another one. And everyone else's YouTube channels too. It's like, who is it? Serial Overdrive, Lord Spade, Bonnie, who else? Yeah, there's quite a few Entropians. Oh yeah, that new guy that's got the channel. Forget, the guy with the glasses, can't remember his name. But yeah, check out his channel too. I haven't watched his videos yet because I've been too busy, but man, he's very dedicated and looks like he's doing some cool stuff in the game. So I really want to check those out too. Yeah, and if anyone else has cool Entropia channels that they want to recommend, just put in the chat and I'll try to recommend those too, if I can remember. Alright, so yeah, if you happen to get any, let's see. Yeah, let's say Vibrant Sweat. If you happen to get any Vibrant Sweat in your vape and it tastes like shit, give the show a dislike. Because vaping sweat is nasty. But if that doesn't happen, you can help with a like, appreciate it, and just make sure you never buy the products from my sponsor. Because it will ruin your life. Worse than some of the stories I even told. Here's 2 videos and a subscribe. One is that Wild Mike Tyson podcast. Give me your opinion. What do you think? Are visions real? Or is this guy just too high and took too many blows to the head? I can relate to that.